The buzz around the league has been getting louder, and when insiders start whispering, fans start leaning in. The idea floating through conversations right now is the possibility of Draymond Green wearing a Chicago Bulls jersey, and even saying that out loud feels surreal. For years, Green has been the heartbeat of Golden State, the emotional engine that made everything else run smoother, louder, and sometimes messier. But every long partnership in sports reaches a crossroads, and this rumor feels like one of those moments where both sides quietly wonder what comes next. From a Bulls perspective, the attraction is obvious. Chicago has been craving an identity, a hard edge, a voice that commands respect in the locker room and on the floor. Draymond represents all of that in one body. For the Warriors, there's a growing sense that their era is shifting, not ending abruptly, but slowly reshaping itself. Letting a foundational piece explore a new challenge could be seen as painful yet practical. No one is saying this is guaranteed, but speculation thrives when timelines collide, and the timelines of Green and Golden State may be drifting apart just enough to make this feel possible. From Chicago's side, this rumor feels less like fantasy and more like calculated hope. The Bulls have talent, but what they have lacked is a unifying force who can elevate everyone else without needing to dominate the scoreboard. Draymond Green has built a career on doing exactly that. He talks, he directs traffic, he challenges teammates in practice, and he sets a defensive tone that can change the personality of an entire roster. Imagining him anchoring Chicago's defense, barking out assignments, and holding younger players accountable is enough to make Bulls fans sit up straight. This is not about chasing highlights or jersey sales alone. This is about culture. Chicago has been searching for that intangible ingredient that turns potential into consistent pressure, and Green's reputation fits that need almost perfectly. Of course, there are risks. His intensity can rub people the wrong way, and his style demands buy-in from everyone. But that might be exactly what the Bulls need, someone who refuses to let complacency settle in. In rumor circles, people are asking whether Chicago would be willing to embrace the chaos that sometimes follows Green, because with that chaos often comes structure, pride, and a renewed sense of purpose. Looking at Golden State, the speculation feels heavier, almost emotional. Draymond Green is not just another player there. He is a symbol of an era defined by unselfish basketball, relentless defense, and emotional fire. But even symbols can change locations when a context shifts. The Warriors have been balancing loyalty with long-term planning, and that balance is never comfortable. There is talk that the front office may be quietly considering whether holding on to Green at all costs still aligns with where the team is heading. Younger pieces need space to grow, and the emotional weight of past success can sometimes slow that process. Letting Draymond explore a new chapter could free both sides from expectations tied to history. This is not about erasing what was built together, but about acknowledging that windows evolve. The rumor of a move to Chicago is intriguing because it is not a rival, not a betrayal in the traditional sense, but rather a fresh stage. Warriors fans may hate the idea, yet some may also understand that seeing Green lead elsewhere could be better than watching his role gradually shrink at home. From a basketball standpoint, the fit in Chicago sparks endless debate. Draymond Green thrives when surrounded by players who can score, allowing him to focus on defense, playmaking, and emotional leadership. The Bulls have offensive options who could benefit from that kind of support, players who do not need another high-volume shooter, but instead need someone to organize the chaos. Green's passing from the high post, his ability to read defenses, and his willingness to do the dirty work could unlock layers of Chicago's offense that have remained inconsistent. Defensively, his presence alone would change how opponents attack. He anticipates, rotates, and communicates at a level few players reach, and that kind of awareness is contagious. This rumor paints a picture of a Bulls team that suddenly plays with more edge, more accountability, and more confidence in close moments. Of course, speculation also includes concerns about spacing and fit, but those questions feel secondary when the conversation shifts toward identity. Chicago has talent, but identity wins games when pressure rises, and Draymond has lived in that pressure for most of his career. The personal side of this rumor is just as compelling. Draymond Green has always embraced being counted out, misunderstood, and criticized. A move to Chicago would fuel that narrative even more, leaving the comfort of a familiar system to prove that his impact travels with him would be a powerful statement. There's a sense that Green might relish the opportunity to redefine how people view his legacy, not as someone tied exclusively to one system, but as a culture builder who can transform environments. Chicago offers a historic franchise with passionate fans hungry for relevance, and that stage could amplify everything Green brings. On the flip side, the pressure would be immense. Expectations would be immediate, and patience would be limited. Yet if there's one thing Green has never shied away from, is pressure. This rumor suggests a mutual challenge. Chicago testing whether it is ready for a leader who demands excellence, and Green testing whether he can spark a renaissance outside the only basketball home he has truly known. As the speculation continues, what makes this rumor stick is how logical it feels beneath the shock. Draymond Green to the Bulls is not just a headline grabber. It is a narrative about timing, ambition, and evolution. The Warriors may be inching toward a softer reset, while Chicago is desperate for a louder statement. Green sits perfectly at that intersection. Nothing is confirmed, nothing is promised, but the conversation itself reveals how the league views both sides. Chicago is seen as one bold move away from redefining itself, and Golden State is seen as a dynasty learning how to age with grace. If this rumor turns into reality, it would reshape perceptions overnight. Until then, fans are left imagining the sight of Green in red and black, clapping his hands, shouting instructions, and reminding everyone that basketball is not just about scoring, but about will, voice, and belief. And sometimes, belief is the most valuable asset a team can acquire. Part 2 of this speculation dives even deeper into the ripple effects such a move could create across the league. If Draymond Green were to land in Chicago, it would not happen in isolation. Other teams would immediately reevaluate their own rosters, wondering whether toughness and leadership have been undervalued in recent seasons. Green represents a type of player that does not always show up in box scores, but shows up in winning habits. His arrival in Chicago could inspire similar pursuits elsewhere, shifting conversations from pure scoring to balance and accountability. The Bulls would suddenly be viewed as a team that chose substance over flash, and that alone could alter how opponents prepare for them. The rumor also raises questions about how Chicago's existing leaders would respond. Would they embrace Green's demanding style, or would there be friction? That tension is part of what makes this idea so compelling. Great transformations often begin with discomfort, and Green has never been afraid to make teammates uncomfortable if it means pushing them toward a higher standard. From the Warriors' angle, the aftermath of such a departure would be just as fascinating. Losing Draymond Green would force Golden State to redefine its voice. For years, he has been the loudest presence, the emotional compass during chaotic moments. Without him, someone else would need to step into that role, where the team would need to collectively adjust its identity. This rumor suggests that the Warriors may be preparing for a quieter, more measured phase, one that relies less on emotional sparks and more on structural consistency. That does not mean losing competitiveness, but it does mean changing how it is expressed. Fans would likely feel a mix of sadness and acceptance, recognizing that dynasties evolve not only through additions, but also through difficult goodbyes. Watching Green lead a different franchise could be painful, yet it could also validate just how influential he truly was. Sometimes you only understand impact when it is no longer there. The stylistic contrast between Golden State and Chicago adds another layer to this rumor. The Warriors have been synonymous with fluid motion and spacing, while the Bulls have often leaned toward individual creation and bursts of offense. Draymond Green could act as a bridge between those philosophies, introducing more connectivity into Chicago's game. His presence could encourage quicker decisions, sharper rotations, and a stronger commitment to team defense. This is where speculation becomes almost cinematic. Analysts imagine Chicago playing with a new rhythm, one driven by communication and trust rather than isolation. Green's voice would echo in practices, pushing pace, demanding focus, and reminding everyone that effort is not negotiable. For a franchise trying to recapture relevance, that tone could be transformative. The rumor thrives because it aligns with what Chicago seems to lack and what Green has always provided. There's also a broader legacy conversation wrapped into this speculation. Draymond Green's career has been defined by polarizing opinions. Some see him as irreplaceable, others as system-dependent. A move to Chicago would put that debate to rest one way or another. If he elevates the Bulls, the narrative shifts decisively in his favor, cementing him as a rare leader whose value transcends schemes. If the fit struggles, critics would feel validated. That risk makes the rumor feel daring rather than safe. Green has never been interested in safe choices, and that personality trait fuels belief that he might actually embrace such a challenge. Chicago, with its storied past and demanding fan base, offers no hiding place. Every success would be magnified, and every failure scrutinized. For a competitor like Green, that spotlight might be irresistible. Financial and strategic layers also quietly sit beneath this rumor, even if fans focus on the emotional side. Teams make moves not just based on talent, but on direction. Chicago might view Green as a short-term catalyst who can accelerate growth and reshape habits. Golden State might view a separation as an opportunity to redistribute responsibilities and extend its competitive relevance in a different way. These calculations rarely make headlines, yet they drive decisions. The rumor gains traction because it satisfies both emotional storytelling and pragmatic logic. It feels like a move that would not come from panic, but from intention. That distinction matters in a league where reactions often overshadow planning. In the end, this speculation persists because it feels like a crossroads moment for everyone involved. Draymond Green to the Bulls is not just a change of uniform, but a statement about evolution, courage, and belief in intangible value. Whether it happens or not, the conversation itself highlights how much weight leadership and identity still carry in modern basketball. Fans imagine the roar of Chicago embracing a new warrior, and the quiet reflection of Golden State honoring a chapter that shaped a generation. Rumors fade or become reality, but the ones that linger usually reveal something true beneath the surface. And this one reveals a league still captivated by the idea that one voice, one mindset, and one fearless leader can change everything. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. What keeps this rumor alive is how naturally it fits into the emotional needs of both fan bases. Chicago supporters are starving for a figure they can rally behind, someone who represents toughness and pride rather than uncertainty. Draymond Green embodies confrontation in its purest competitive form, never backing down, never hiding, and never pretending that basketball is supposed to be comfortable. Imagining him walking into the United Center, immediately setting standards, immediately challenging habits, feels like the kind of jolt that franchises dream about but rarely execute. This is not about promising championships or instant dominance. It is about credibility. Green brings credibility the moment he steps into a locker room because his career is a living argument for sacrifice and accountability. In rumor circles, people talk about how younger Bulls players could be reshaped simply by daily exposure to his mindset. Practices would be louder, film sessions more honest, and excuses far less tolerated. Chicago has tried talent-based solutions for years, and the speculation suggests a philosophical pivot. Instead of asking who can score more, the Bulls might be asking who can lead harder. The question almost always circles back to Green, which is why this idea refuses to disappear. From Draymond Green's perspective, the narrative of reinvention is powerful. Spending an entire prime with one franchise creates comfort, but it can also create limits on how the world defines you. A move to Chicago would strip away the safety net of familiarity and force a new definition of success. The rumor paints Green as someone eager to prove that his influence is portable, That leadership is not tied to jerseys or systems, but to presence and conviction. Chicago would not expect him to be someone else. They would expect him to be more of himself. That freedom can be intoxicating for a veteran who has already accomplished nearly everything possible. The speculation hints that Green might see this as his final statement chapter, a chance to walk into a hungry market and attempt to build something meaningful from the inside out. Failure would be loud, but success will be legendary. That risk-reward balance aligns perfectly with Green's personality, which has always leaned toward confrontation rather than comfort. Ultimately, this rumor resonates because it taps into a deeper truth about sports transitions. Dynasties do not end cleanly, and rebuilds do not begin quietly. They overlap in messy, emotional ways, often through players who symbolize more than their statistics. Draymond Green leaving Golden State for Chicago would be one of those moments that feels bigger than a transaction. It would represent the passing of an identity from one city to another, from one era to a new experiment. Fans debate it endlessly because it feels plausible, dramatic, and meaningful all at once. Whether this remains speculation or becomes reality, the conversation itself already changes expectations. Chicago feels closer to relevance simply by being linked to a leader of Green stature, and Golden State feels closer to transformation simply by entertaining the idea of life without him. That tension is what fuels the rumor, and until clarity arrives, imagination will keep filling the space with visions of intensity, challenge, and a bold new chapter waiting to be written. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.